There me knee, Mummy used to always remind me of those good old Jamaican proverbs to keep me wise. Proverbs like, what goat do, kid follow. Good friend, better than pocket money. And if you can't catch Quacker, you catch him short. Just like the proverbs Bosco Oats is ingrained in Jamaica. From me eye there me knee, Mummy used to always remind me of those good old Jamaican proverbs to keep me wise. Proverbs like, what goat do, kid follow. Good friend, better than pocket money. And if you can't catch Quacker, you catch him short. Just like the proverbs Bosco Oats is ingrained in Jamaica.
Chicken, or my chicken nut. CB chicken, it is way better.
I save from VM Building Society. Every deposit got me here. Every step forward put me in the driver's seat.
For everything you're looking forward to, open an iSave account today. Visit gotomyvm.com to get started.
Every $25,000 you save with iSave earns an entry to win cash or a new home of your own. The more you save, the more entries you get, and every entry has a chance to win a brand new home of your own. VM iSave is the key to winning.
Here's to the early risers, and we are here all-nighters, the go the extra milers, and let's do it until it works, workers. People who are powerful, because they power through, day after day, challenge after challenge. You see, true power is not something you can buy or collect. It's something that starts on the inside, and you always know it when you see it. Sunshine Snacks Peanuts, proud supporters of the powerful.
Ray and Nebby, feel we culture, yo!
New beginning, we winning, so share our spirit where you living, yeah.
Share it!
I make we all a one bar, you don't know we come from far.
From far, anytime we rep, feel we country. Rear rum, it have to come with we.
No matter with the bad vibes.
Poor rear rum, a celebration time.
I feel we culture. Make we show ya Jamaican culture.
Ray and Nebby, overproof from we just a do it to we culture.
From me eye there me knee, Mummy used to always remind me of those good old Jamaican proverbs to keep me wise. Proverbs like, what goat do, kid follow. good friend better than pocket money. And if you can't catch Quaco, you catch him short. Just like the proverb, Bosco Oats is ingrained in Jamaica.
A CB chicken, a better way. Introducing air chill chicken. It have more flavor, you don't know what you're missing. It tastes better, full of flavor in the kitchen. Better value, better taste, better chicken. CB chicken, tastes way better. Air chilled chicken, taste way better. Better value, better taste, better chicken. No antibiotic and hormone free. Have you tasted the new air chilled chicken? Or my chicken nut? CB chicken, it tastes way better.
I save from VM Building Society. Every deposit got me here. Every step forward put me in the driver's seat.
Across it. Think about maybe Santos having dominated the early portions of the league. You think about possibly even Arnett Gardens. They're missing out on the playoffs. You think about maybe even Harbour View, the fallen giants at this point. But currently, it's all about what I would say a couple of teams here playing today. Hazard United now, Portmore United, the most successful team in the history of the Jamaica Premier League. And of course, Montego Bay United, formerly named SEBA. But when you think about it, over the last, I would say since the start of this decade, it's all been about two teams. Mount Pleasant only formed in 2016, but juggernauts on the local and now regional scene. And Cavalier, they were a sleeping giant that is now fully risen. I haven't forgotten my manners this time. My name is Ligier Williams. I'm joined by John Stewart. And John, I have to ask you, what are you making of the four teams that are involved today?
I have to say we've been given a great spectacle thus far, Leger. And to be fair, Mount Pleasant and Montego Bay United deserve to be here. All four teams deserve to be here, especially those two battling it out all season long for those top two positions, especially Montego Bay United, who were leading for most of it and deserved rest, of course, 11 days rest, so that will factor into how perhaps they may perform today. But also, Portmore United had to do it the hard way, so too did Cavalier. Long, arduous regular season, but in the playoffs got even more difficult, especially for Cavalier, who had to rescue their playoff spot on the final day, and then a hard-fought win over Waterhouse, overcoming a 2-0 deficit in the first leg, and then the second leg pretty much dismantled them. As for Portmore United, in the Battle of St. Catherine with Racing United, they were fantastic. A much more different game in the second leg than they played in the first. But I'm eager to see how they approach the champions of the regular season in the second game of today.
Yeah, and I have to ask you, firstly, you have this Mount Pleasant team taking on Portmore United. You and I were on call the last time these two teams faced each other in the regular season. It was a dominant Mount Pleasant win. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the first game playing Cavalier taking on Mobay United, what do you make of Portmore United taking on Mount Pleasant?
Well, I must say, for the most part, Mount Pleasant had their number in the regular season. I believe 2 wins.
That will be followed later by Portmore United going up against.
We've seen them mean nothing come playoff time. Waterhouse were pretty dominant over Cavalier in the regular season. We all saw how that played out. So trends do matter, and they tend to bear some fruition in the playoffs, but not always. But one of the things that you can count on in this encounter is goals. This encounter always promises goals. As I mentioned before, the last encounter between those two saw Mount Pleasant winning 4-1, I believe. So I definitely expect an exciting game for us.
Yeah, but getting into a game, I would say, steeped in history. Cavalier, I mentioned that they were sleeping giants. They were a huge fixture in Jamaican football when club football just began at the highest level. They won that first title in 1981. They were a massive team. They were actually, a lot of people said that they brought Messi to Jamaica. They were actually responsible for bringing even Pele to Jamaica as well in the mid-70s. Then you have Seba United, a team that is steeped in history. And I mentioned Seba because that's what they were called up until the late 2000s or early 2010s. In 2011, they were officially changed to Montego Bay United. Only ever relegated once from this league. Now they're looking to deliver on the promise made by their chairman when he just took over, Johnny Epstein, that in 2026 they were going to deliver a title. How well poised do you think they are to do that starting today against Cavalier?
Of course, this is their first time, I believe, in the semi-finals since they won back in 2016. And I have to say, since taking over, he's done a fantastic job. I think they finished 7th in his first half season there. And then, of course, last year made the playoffs, narrowly missing out on that top 2 spot. Now this year, they've improved once more, securing that top 2 position. And one of the men responsible for that is now joining us. I'll let you get to that, Leger.
Yeah, head coach Xavier Gilbert of this Montego Bay United team. First of all, how do you feel about your season so far leading up to this point?
I mean, it has been good, to be honest. We have our ups and downs, but I'm happy that we made it to the semi-finals, and this is the first game in the semi-finals, and we're excited and ready to go.
And coach, I have to ask you as well, of course, the past is the past, but the past couple of seasons you have been in charge of Arnett Gardens, and you have failed to beat this Cavalier team in the semi-finals for back-to-back seasons now. Does that play into your thinking any amount heading into this game?
Absolutely not. But we have to respect our opposition. The Cavalier, they always find a way to get the desired result that they want. I mean, hence, they are the defending champions, and we're mindful of that and mindful of their resilience. But I think we have what it takes to get the better of them. And as long as we execute, we should be fine.
John?
Coach, a quick question for you. 3 defeats on the spin coming into this one, of course. You factor that in with the aforementioned 11 days rest. How confident are you guys that you can turn around this recent form and flip that switch in the playoffs?
Yeah, we're at a bad period for sure. But I mean, you say 11-day rest. I don't think it was 11-day rest. It's 11 days of reflection and some hard work that we put in. And I think we're ready. We're in the right frame of mind. The players are in the right frame of mind. I'm happy for them the way they have adapted and adjusted during this period. And I'm sure you're going to see some good football this evening.
Well, Coach, I know that's something you would love, to produce good football, and I hope we definitely do see it. Thank you very much for your time and all the best today.
You're most welcome. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that was head coach Xavier Gilbert. Quickly, John, what do you make of his words going into this game?
You mentioned reflection. That was for me the key word, and definitely need to reflect on some of the results and how they succumb to those defeats. But we'll see the lessons that were learned and what they would have garnered over the course of the season.
Yeah, I'm now here with Coach Layla from Cavalier. He has a smile immediately, so I know he's feeling really confident, so I won't ask that. But Coach, 8 consecutive seasons. You're into the semi-final. Unrivaled success in that sense. I said I'm not going to ask how confident you are, but I do have to ask that. How confident are you coming into this game against Montego Bay United?
Well, we have been working on some good set play. We have been working on some good set play. We have developed a plan that we believe might work today. Hence the smile.
And you have an extremely young team. I've spoken to a couple of your coaches, I've spoken to your players. They're one of the rare teams that tell me that they love to run. Against this Mobay team, you know you will have to run because that's something they love to do as well. A lot of transitions. How are you prepared to, first of all, stop Montego Bay from transitioning and then also transition yourself to get some attacks going?
Well, put it this way, we have lost twice to Montego Bay this season. And so we would have known by now what they'll be coming with. And so we have put in preparation on some plans to stop them first, and then so we can exploit them by scoring a goal or 2.
And Coach, before I get on to John, the reason why I bring up the 8 consecutive semi-finals is because Cavalier have become masters when it comes on to anything cup related. 2 legs, 1 leg. How do you manage the first leg as opposed to a second leg? What's the mindset like going into a game?
Everything is preparation, and more than anything else, more the mental preparation and try to get the players them really focused on the job ahead. we have a couple players that have been there before and done that before. So with the maturity of those players, just really just encouraging the younger players that, hey, it's good, it's all right to be there. They feel like they have a right to be there, most of these players, and so they're exhibiting that kind of confidence today. Hence, you will see the result.
I appreciate that, Coach John.
Good afternoon, Coach. You mentioned a key word there, preparation. I just want to ask quickly, Montego United got the better of you in the regular season, but we've seen already, based on how you guys beat Waterhouse, even though they dominated you in the regular season, how is it that you always manage to keep your teams prepared to correct those mistakes in the regular season and seemingly become so much better in the playoffs?
Well, everything is work in progress, you know, and remember we started off with a young team and a new team because we are really rebuilding, but for the period of time that they have been in now, they are maturing and they have quality. So we have some youngsters with some real quality, so it's all about maturity and work in progress. So they are gradually getting even more confident, and knowing that the young player coming in, transition from schoolboy and can score, particularly Scott, we realize that the other youngsters are also looking on, so when they also come on, they come on with a certain level of confidence, knowing that, yes, we can do it. And so you would see some of these results by the maturity and the gradual increase and the work that we have been doing as coaches.
Well, Coach, I certainly believe that, and you mentioned confidence. I'll hope that your team will be playing with a lot of that here today. All the best.
Well, we'll need it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Coach.
All right.
Yeah, head coach or assistant coach David Layla, an experienced and vital part of this Cavalier program. What do you make of what he had to say ahead of this game?
As I mentioned before, he mentioned preparation, and he really stressed the importance of getting the youth up to standard. Of course, a bit of a rocky start, but they're no strangers to that. And I'm just excited to see what their approach will be in this game. They're a team that can take on many forms, many styles. They're so versatile, and I think that's what's led them to win 3 titles in the last 5 years. I strongly believe that we're going to see a champion-like performance from them. I'm expecting them to come out firing, defend well as they have so far in the playoffs, and I'm really just expecting a well-disciplined team, which is what we tend to get from Cavalier.
Yeah, but from a Montego Bay United perspective, I'm hoping to see a little bit of bravery. That's what we tend to see from Xavier Gilbert teams. They're a team littered with quality, especially in the attacking areas. I do think that they will have some issues controlling that transition against Cavalier. Well, practically every team does because they're so well drilled at it. But what do you think that this Montego Bay United team can do to get the better of Cavalier here today?
I think, well, it's not something that they've done all the way throughout the season, but they're going to have to mention that word control. They're going to have to control the game, especially in the middle of the park. And for that reason, Lucas Correa, in my opinion, he's going to be perhaps the most important player on the park, because we already mentioned before how important like the transition game is for Cavalier. That's how they've outdone majority of their teams. The beat, and I'm really just expecting Montego Bay United to prioritize winning that battle in the middle of the park. Don't make the mistakes on the ball that we've seen from Waterhouse, that we've seen from teams past, and really just keep a steady head, and just, as I said before, not allow yourself to be beaten. You can't beat yourself.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that sentiment completely. And when you even think about a Lucas Lima in the middle of the park, I do have some concerns about how disciplined he can be at times when it comes down to just staying as that holding midfielder. So we've seen Montego Bay United really experiment with a couple of different players in that area. Even their very last game of the season, it was Dwight Merrick playing in that 6th spot against Mount Pleasant. Maybe it was a trial, maybe it's something we'll see a little bit more of in the playoffs. But this Montego Bay United team, I wanted to speak about them, maybe not from a tactical perspective, but also from a historical perspective. In my opinion, Montego Bay United, yes, Arnett Gardens, they have all the fans in the world. Harborview have all the fans in the world. Mount Pleasant, they have a huge fan base now in St. Anne. But when it comes on to pride of a team, pride of a parish, pride of a city, it's really unparalleled, the love that Montego Bay United have, whether it be from the SEBA days until now. So I'm expecting that to really shine through more than any other team left in this competition right now. You coming from that side of the island yourself, what do you make of what I had to say, really?
Well, as you mentioned before, I'm from that side of the island, and I have to say, one thing about Montego Bay fans, they will support their team no matter what. Yes, as any fan, you want to see your team winning, and perhaps that will dampen your spirits a bit. But I'm old enough to remember the last time we won the Premier League against Portman United, that fateful 2-1 victory, and the entire city went ballistic. And trust me, I'm expecting to see some great support coming out today. I'm expecting Montego Bay United to be out in droves in terms of the travelling support, because this team needs the supporters to get back behind them, because one of the key things that has always been instrumental to our success has been the support, whether it be online, just watching. Of course, we have the GPL channel up, but also in the stadium. Of course, not necessarily having all the games at our usual stadium over the last couple of years. That's still on the way, but I'm excited to see what happens for the upcoming years in terms of, can we get back that level of support that we used to have. And yeah, I definitely think it's going to be a key factor for our success coming up in the next coming of years.
Well, you mentioned we. You've said we a lot of times in your soliloquy there. So I have to ask you, it's prediction time. Are you anticipating that this Montego Bay United team, I'm assuming that's where your support would lie, do you think that they can get the better of Cavalier in this first leg?
Of course, I have to be impartial. But I will say, regardless of form, regardless of, as I mentioned before with Coach Gilbert, the 3 losses in a row and some concerns I may have tactically, I just seeing us pipping them in the first leg, 2-1. But Cavalier, not one to be counted out. We've seen how good they are, especially in the second leg. So that's my prediction for that game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be extremely close. And you mentioned being a betting man. You mentioned relying on trends throughout your analysis. That's my bread and butter, really, relying on trends. And it's maybe not a team versus team trend. I would say this is a coach versus coach trend. And I mentioned and I asked Xavier Gilbert about his Arnett teams who in back-to-back seasons would have lost to Cavalier in the semi-final stage. I could see that happening again. Maybe it won't. But one thing that remained consistent throughout the first legs in the past 2 seasons is that we saw a draw by the scoreline of 1-1. So we have our sponsors. I'm sure a lot of people are in the stadiums. They're probably at home watching the game. But if you want a prediction from the prediction guru, I'm going to let you know that this game will draw 1-1. You can book it, you can bookmark it. And if you want to pressure me about it, if I get it wrong before the second game when we have that pre-show, feel free. Don't stop me in the street though, I'll usually have somewhere to be. And speaking of having somewhere to be, we have a match to watch, which you will get right after this commercial break. It's a Ray & Neville Jamaica Premier League. It's a semi-final first leg, Cavalier taking on Montego Bay United. You don't want to miss it. Rush Sports 2, the Jamaica Premier League YouTube page. Stay tuned.
From me yai there me knee, Mummy used to always remind me of those good old Jamaican proverbs to keep me wise. Proverbs like, what goat do, kid follow. Good friend, better than pocket money. And if you can't catch Quaco, you catch him short. Just like the proverb, Bosco Oats is ingrained in Jamaica. From me yai there me knee, Mummy.
Everything you're looking forward to. Open an iSave account today. Visit gotomyvm.com to get started.
Every $25,000 you save with iSave earns an entry to win cash or a new home of your own. The more you save, the more entries you get, and every entry has a chance to win a brand new home of your own. VM iSave is the key to winning.
Here's to the early risers, and we are here all-nighters, the go the extra milers, and let's do it until it works, workers. People who are powerful because they powered through. Day after day, challenge after challenge. You see, true power is not something you can buy or collect. It's something that starts on the inside. and you always know it when you see it. Sunshine Snacks Peanuts, proud supporters of the powerful.
Ray and Never, feel we culture, yo! New beginning, we winning, so share our spirit where you living, yeah. Share it! I make we all a one bar, you don't know we come from far. From far, anytime we rep, feel we country. Rear rum, it have to come with we. No matter with the bad vibes. Poor rear rum, a celebration time. I feel we culture. Make we show ya Jamaican culture. Ray and Nephew overproof from we just a do it to we culture.
A CB chicken, a better way. Introducing air chill chicken. It have more flavor, you don't know what you're missing. It tastes better, full of flavor in the kitchen. Better value, better taste, better chicken. CB chicken, tastes way better. Air chilled chicken, taste way better. Better value, better taste, better chicken. No antibiotic and hormone free. Have you tasted the new air chilled chicken? Or my chicken nut? CB chicken, it tastes way better.
I save from VM Building Society. Every deposit got me here. Every step forward put me in the driver's seat.
For everything you're looking forward to, open an iSave account today. Visit gotomyvm.com to get started.
Every $25,000 you save with iSave earns an entry to win cash or a new home of your own. The more you save, the more entries you get, and every entry has a chance to win a brand new home of your own. VM iSave is the key to winning.
Here's to the early risers, and we are here all-nighters, the go the extra milers, and let's do it until it works, workers. People who are powerful, because they power through, day after day, challenge after challenge. You see, true power is not something you can buy or collect. It's something that starts on the inside, and you always know it when you see it. Sunshine Snacks Peanuts, proud supporters of the powerful.
Ray and Never, feel we culture, yo! New beginning, we winning, so share our spirit where you living, yeah. Share it! I make we all a one bar, you don't know we come from far. From far, anytime we rep, feel we country. Rear rum, it have to come with we. No matter with the bad vibes. Poor rear rum, a celebration time. I feel we culture. Make we show ya Jamaican culture. Ray and Nephew overproof from we just a do it to we culture.
A CB chicken, a better way. Introducing air chill chicken. It have more flavor, you don't know what you're missing. It tastes better, full of flavor in the kitchen. Better value, better taste, better chicken. CB chicken, tastes way better. Air chilled chicken, taste way better. Better value, better taste, better chicken. No antibiotic and hormone free. Have you tasted the new air chilled chicken? Or my chicken nut? CB chicken, it tastes way better.
I save from VM Building Society. Every deposit got me here. Every step forward put me in the driver's seat.
For everything you're looking forward to, open an iSave account today. Visit gotomyvm.com to get started.
Every $25,000 you save with iSave earns an entry to win cash or a new home of your own. The more you save, the more entries you get, and every entry has a chance to win a brand new home of your own. VM iSave is the key to winning.
Here's to the early risers, and we are here all-nighters, the go the extra milers, and let's do it until it works, workers. People who are powerful, because they power through, day after day, challenge after challenge. You see, true power is not something you can buy or collect. It's something that starts on the inside, and you always know it when you see it. Sunshine Snacks Peanuts, proud supporters of the powerful.
Ray and Never, feel we culture, yo! New beginning, we winning, so share our spirit where you living, yeah. Share it! I make we all a one bar, you don't know we come from far. From far, anytime we rep, feel we country. Rear rum, it have to come with we. No matter with the bad vibes. Poor rear rum, a celebration time. I feel we culture. Make we show ya Jamaican culture. Ray and Nephew overproof from we just a do it to we culture.
A CB chicken, a better way. Introducing air chill chicken. It have more flavor, you don't know what you're missing. It tastes better, full of flavor in the kitchen. Better value, better taste, better chicken. CB chicken, tastes way better. Air chilled chicken, taste way better. Better value, better taste, better chicken.
Gets fever pitch. Of course, we had wonderful moments following the action in the quarter-final round. Cavalier and the Portmore United doing the business at the quarter-final level, and they have now made their appearance in this semi-final round. For Cavalier, 8 years running, and in those 8 years, they have 3 titles to boot as well. Montego Bay United haven't had that dominance in terms of silverware, but they have had great moments nonetheless. Cavalier versus Montego Bay United, what a moment in local football. Cavalier, they have distinguished themselves as a top club, not only in the island of Jamaica, but they've gone all the way to the Caribbean and dominate at that level. They've also represented well at the continental level. But the team of officials lead the troops onto this hallowed turf, the National Stadium of Jamaica. Great moments we've witnessed here, and this certainly will be another iteration of that. Cavalier, they boast the youngest professional football team in all the world. The average age as of last week, Wednesday, was 19.7. This year, this time, it could even be younger, you know. Montego Bay United, certainly royalty out west. And they've gone back to traditional colors, the colors of Siva. And now they are done in that red and green. Montego Bay United. This is a big matchup. Dean Smith in commentary. With me is Lejay Williams. And Lejay, the tension is really mounting here. Your thoughts as we get ready for this big matchup?
Yeah, this game couldn't get any bigger. And it's a pretty big starting lineup for Cavalier as well. Rudolph Speed, the head coach.
Jamari Gordon, Giovanni Leng, Shamar Watson, Akil Henry, Adrian Reed, Kimali Scott, Dwayne Allen, Lewis Watson, Michael Forbes, Kishane Gordon, and Livingston Donaldson. Two notable omissions in this lineup. Daryl Massicott, who started Wednesday, and also absent from the match card is the man with the wonder goal, Christopher Ainsworth. Montego United, Devoni Burton in goal, Lucas Lima Correa, Dwight Merrick, Tamara Lewis, Devereaux McKenzie, Akima Jones, Philanda Wing, Gregory Sinfleur, the 19-year-old from Haiti, Malachi Sterling, Ricardo Ramsey, and Kimani Arboyne. Of course, they're coached by Xavier Gilbert.
Yeah, Xavier Gilbert, I'm sure, would have some bad memories against a Rudolph Speed coach team over the past couple of seasons, looking to fix that here in his new home. Well, I guess Kingston is his original home, but with his new team, Montego Bay United, shaping up to be a real cracker. This one, Cavalier, they've been there, they've done that. As you mentioned, 8 consecutive semi-final berths. Montego Bay United, they're looking to return to history and glory of old. One of the most prestigious, and as I mentioned on the pre-show as well, one of the most proud teams, if not the most proud team in Jamaican club football. They're looking to, at the very least, get back to a final. That road begins here today at the National Stadium in Kingston, Jamaica. The Reneve Jamaica Premier League playoffs. The sun taking its last, I would say last gasp before it leaves us. But it's a beautiful day for some football, Dean.
It really is. Of course, there were light showers in some parts of Kingston, but it hasn't really affected the atmosphere here at the National Stadium. Some clouds still linger there and thereabout, but wonderful scenes. We look at the bench for Cavalier. Rudolph Speed, the head coach, and last week I said it, I say it again, an Avenger cast of coaches that they've assembled. Of course, David Layla with them, Everdeen Scarlett, and we talk about Marcel Gales of this world, as well as Sean Fraser. And yeah, it's a big lineup in terms of coaches.
Yeah, it's not quite often you get a star-studded lineup of coaches. That is what Rudolph Speed has assembled, the technical director. Of course, he holds a lot of power with the national team as well, so he will be looking to delegate some responsibilities.
Xavier Gilbert coaches this Montego Bay United lineup, and he has brought with him a few individuals who he worked with at Arnett Gardens, and of course he has retained some of the old stalwarts there at Montego Bay United. He has actually moved to the second city. I had a chat with him pre-season, and he said he has to make the sacrifice, he has to take the dive, and it's something that I've quietly admired, and I can really say it publicly now. It's a big step for him to make, and let's see if it augurs well for him in this matchup. Of course, you mentioned that he hasn't had the best of records against Rudolph Speed opposition. When he was the coach of Arnett Gardens, had some problems there getting around the Rudolph Speed, but the action starts here inside the National Stadium. Cavalier in their familiar white, Montego United in red with green trimmings. Let's see how this one goes. Cavalier in possession, that's Giovanni Leng on the ball. Gets it out wide to Lewis Watson, he puts it forward. Looks like Shane Gordon, former Phoenix Chapelton Maroons player, former Veer player, now with Cavalier. Michael Forbes gets a start as well. What can he do? Big aerial threat is Michael Forbes. Here's Cavalier. No real venom on that strike there.
And as it usually is, I think it will be so imperative to take a second look how Montego Bay apply themselves. They have been the team who got the rest, courtesy of finishing in second place in the regular season, led for most of the season, but as John Stewart mentioned in that pre-game, 3 losses on the spin coming into the playoffs, getting momentum and getting that speed of play and just getting that match intensity back into the legs will be paramount for them as they look to get some momentum in this game.
They launch at one forward, unable to get the second ball. Cavalier trying to break now, ball forward. Kimali Scott is there. He's on the pursuit from Philander Wing, who has made the trip from Arnett Gardens to Montego Bay following his coach. Has done well this season, Philander Wing. Here he is on the ball again, stabs it forward. That's Kimani Arboin. They call him bye-bye. Has sent by to that Cavalier player where the pass forward wasn't the best. And already we are here in the Montego Bay Massive. Whenever they are at a football game, I have to give them their plaudits. The Kingston supporters have nothing on those from the West. I tell you that without any fear of contradiction.
Yeah, certainly I agree with you. Watching football in the parish of St. James is always a sight to behold. The support that they garner. Obviously, it would have been a tough time for them in November, the passage of Hurricane Melissa, but the support is still there, and their team is still giving them plenty of reasons to support them all over the island.
Here's a ball from Montego Bay. St. Fleur trying to get on the end of that one, but it goes into touch for a throw-in for Cavalier. And, you know, there are some matches that I'm not sure if it's commentary, intuition, but you just have a feeling that something special is about to happen. And in the opening 4 minutes of this encounter, I just sense that this one will be one to remember. Here's our boy. Watson had to boot it out. Not the kind of clearance he wanted based on his reaction to that, but nonetheless, danger averted. Here's Montego Bay again. Michael Forbes, a tall man, punts it back to Montego Bay. Bit of ping pong here. Let's see if they can settle in possession. Timar Lewis was a standout with Harborview in that title winning team in 2022. He, as well as Ordelan Harding, Okimo Jones, are among those who've moved to the west. Throwing for Cavalier.
another intriguing part for my money would be to see how Montego Bay set up in this game. They are the team that would have had not only the rest but the time to prepare coming into this contest. I'm sure Xavier Gilbert would have mulled over what he would have done had it been Waterhouse, what he would have done had it been Cavalier, who it is for them in this semi-final. So tactically, it's going to be a quite intriguing game as well. There's a crowd that's steadily growing here inside the National Stadium. The bleachers as well that's been opened for this fixture.
There's a lovely view by the bleachers, you know.
Yeah.
There's something about being over there. Anyway, back to the action. Montego Bay trying to clear their lines. Philander Wing has to turn. Kimali Scotty did it well. Here's Malachi Sterling. A few seasons ago, he was a schoolboy.
And now one of the most accomplished left backs on the island. Extremely talented players, Malachi Sterling.
Did have a stint at Mount Pleasant as well.
He's really coming to his own here at Montego Bay United. For my money, the best left back in the league this season.
Okimo Jones. And that one was dangerous, you know. Didn't get the glance on the header. But that was a threatening move from Montego Bay United. And just like that, the complexion of this game could have changed.
Yeah, I believe it was Dwight Merritt making that late burst into the box. Many people do see him as a creator, someone who dictates the tempo of games. But he is so dangerous as a box crashing threat as well. And that is well exemplified by his 11 league goals this season. Must be said, Montego Bay United have controlled the opening exchanges in this one. But Cavalier, I'm sure they won't mind too much.
They normally don't mind. Very pragmatic approach that we've grown to see from Cavalier. Not necessarily, everyone doesn't necessarily love it, but very pragmatic. Whatever needs to be done for the particular game, that is what history has demonstrated has been done from a Cavalier perspective. While some coaches are extremely tied to a philosophy, a style of play, it's more a situational approach from Cavalier. Here they come. Kimali Scott couldn't get out on the end of that one. Here's Lucas Limi Correa, the Brazilian, in the middle of the park, gets it out wide to Philander Wing. Devoney Burton in goal, gets it to Devereaux McKenzie. Centre back pairing with Philander Wing. And there they advance again. That one goes into touch. It's a throw in for Cavalier.
Devoney Burton getting some heavy touches early in this game. They call him Buffon. Montego Bay.
Lovely ball forward. What a moment! It's into the side netting. Lovely pass forward from Malachi Sterling it was. And that provided a willing run for could be Richardo Ramsey, not sure. It was Ramsey. Just couldn't find the final touches. Cavalier on the threat already.
Yeah. I think that's what Montego Bay United have to do and consistently do well. Playing those passes quickly beyond the last line of Cavalier. Trying to put pressure on that back line that, yes, it does have a lot of quality, but in some areas is still quite young and inexperienced in this playoff level. That's something that Waterhouse did not do effectively, moving the ball quickly. And this Montego Bay United team certainly seeking those early advantages early in this game.
Throwing for Cavalier, Adrian Reed behind it. The rhythm of the drum setting the stage here inside the National Stadium. Long throw into the box. Devoney Burton gets there. Not sure what was the intention there, but it's still alive for Cavalier. Here's Giovanni Leng, the captain. Does very well. Spreads it to Kimali Scott. His first touch is good. Has options. Gets it to Kishane Gordon. Or make that Dwayne Allen it was. But Montego Bay United, they have been so composed and controlled in this matchup so far. Here they come. Ball sent forward. Had to be cleared by Lewis Watson. Correa. Ball out wide. Send floor. What a shot! Just wide!
Another chance down that left-hand side for Montego Bay United. This time it was St. Fleur working the space, getting it on that left foot. When he fired it, I'm sure Jamari Gordon was interested, but he just was flashing wide.
Montego Bay looking the more threatening of the two teams so far. Here's a ball. Threatening ball. Kimali Scott gets there. Malachi Sterling was no nonsense in that clearance. Concedes the corner kick. First one of the encounter for Cavalier.
And could this be a way that Cavalier can lay a stake in this game? They've been under the cosh for so long. Kishane Gordon it will be to whip this one in. He did mention his Phoenix Chapelton roots, so he certainly is a capable set piece taker.
Here's the delivery. At the back post, Lewis Watson. He barged forward. There's a collision there, and the Montego Bay United player, the worse off for it, but manages to get to his feet. No real danger then. There's another look at it.
Be brave, stick to his task. So too did Lewis Watson. But all's well that ends well. Montego Bay United getting things right back on the way. No heavy pressure from Cavalier as well, when Mobay are building up in these deeper phases. But
here's Cavalier
now.
On the transition, poor pass on that occasion.
And for the first time in this game, you hear the booming voice of Xavier Gilbert as he voices his frustration with how his team is passing the ball around. Never quite seems satisfied, does Xavier Gilbert.
Hard taskmaster, but nonetheless has really demonstrated his quality as a coach, of course. Has always had great success with the females. Of course, assistant coach to the Reggae Girls at Current. But in the 3 seasons now that we've seen him, 2 with Arnett and now with Montego Bay United, we have seen attractive football, and his coaching acumen definitely visible. Here they come. That first touch wasn't great, but Merrick gets it out wide. Here's St. Fleur. Can he get by Forbes? Goes by the line, gets it in the area. Still alive. Cleared again from Cavalier. Kimali Scott didn't have the polished touch needed to cause a threat. All the way back to Burton.
And Montego Bay United continuing. I won't say they're knocking on the door, but they're certainly standing outside it, waiting, trying to pry an opening. That pass from Merrick unable to connect with Richardo Ramsey. And Cavalier finally get a little bit of reprieve, an opportunity to possibly start an attack of their own.
Gordon boots it long. Jamari Gordon, Kishane Gordon, the intended target, but Makima Jones doing well to shield him off. Gets it to McKenzie. Merrick back to McKenzie. They go to the wide area now. McKenzie has Arboin signaling his intention to be a willing runner, but he goes the way of St. Flor. Forbes did well there. Still back with Korea. They're setting up camp, is Montego Bay United. Look at the passes. The traditional Tokomia boy we see very much in the Montego Bay United attacking structure. Give and go for those who might be wondering what foreign language I'm using. But after all that, Cavalier getting the call, and they resume play. Keeper to keeper. Philander wing. Korea. Okimo Jones. Settled in possession is Montego Bay United. Timar Lewis gets it out wide. Philander wing. Does a few step overs. All Cavalier players behind the ball. Devereaux McKenzie. Can't connect properly with Arboin. But Arboin stayed there like a sword and won the throw-in. Here's Wing. Will he go from distance? No. Goes for the pass. Errant pass there. Out to play.
And I think what makes Cavaliers such a difficult team to play against is how well they condense the space between their lines when they're defending. Not quite easy for any opposition team to attack within those spaces. Mobay have done a good job at times of going out wide, especially down that left-hand side, and I think that's what they need to do more. Try and get in those 1v1 situations. Try and open up some space that they can exploit.
Ball strip. Here's Arboin. Can he provide a moment of magic? No.
That would certainly be a very good way for them to open up this Cavalier team as well. Those counter-attacking transitional moments. On that occasion, it was Kimani Arboin who won the ball high. But that final action couldn't quite execute effectively.
18th minute. Defensive solidity, the hallmark of what we're seeing from Cavalier. Offensive probing. Perhaps the apt description of what we're seeing from Montego Bay United. Ramsey gets it to Jones. Here's Arboin. Arboin does have deceptive pace and guile. Turned into trouble and he loses possession. Ball sent forward. Kimali Scott. Good hold up play. Lays it for Kishane Gordon. Can he get by one? No, he can't. Hasn't been on his bike, you know, Kishane Gordon. Timar Lewis now on the ball for Montego Bay United. His attempted pass charged down. Here's the Haitian St. Flor to the back post. Arboin picks it up now. Allows it to go for the throw. Takes it quickly. Jones can deliver. Here he is again. Ball won by Cavalier. They boot it forward, but only for Devereaux McKenzie. Two players down, and Alexi Perry, FIFA central referee, brings a halt to proceedings.
And this might be a very well-needed break for both teams. From a Cavalier perspective, they'll need this break to probably catch their breath as they've been defending tirelessly to start this game. And from Montego Bay United perspective, just to reevaluate how they've approached this game so far. They have been probing, they have been creating a couple of half chances. It's just about the execution when they get into certain moments. It just hasn't quite been good enough so far. They do need to be better if they are planning to breach this Cavalier defense, which, as you mentioned, is a hallmark of their success throughout the years.
Yeah, it really has been. Player still down. To the left of your screen, being treated. Cavalier player, but the remaining 8 players. That all 9, maybe 8 players for Cavalier being guided throughout the proceedings by their coach. Similar storyline for the Montego Bay United players as well. Both coaches and substitute on the bench giving their guidance and direction. Always so important to have that experience in the form of a Owain Gordon and a Brian Rambo Brown on the bench for Montego Bay United, giving their own advice and encouragement. Getting ready for the resumption. Montego Bay United did have possession at the time. Alexi Perry brought a halt to proceedings. Drops the ball for McKenzie. Here they are again. St. Flo was in a great position. Tried to stab it forward, but Akil Henry was there. He gets it forward to Kimali Scott. His first touch didn't give him the advantage there. And Montego Bay United, through Malachi Sterling, back in possession. Throw goes away of Cavalier, to the chagrin of the coaching staff of Montego Bay United.
I think the further this game goes on, the scorelines level, especially nil all, I think that certainly suits Cavalier much more than it would suit Montego Bay United. Of course, fitness, lack of match fitness is always something that we take into consideration after such a long absence out. They got the rest, they got the bye. Montego Bay United, Cavalier, they certainly have matches in their legs.
Match rhythm.
Yep.
Such an important feature. Throwing for Cavalier.
Won't necessarily say that misplaced pass by Timar Lewis was due to a lack of match rhythm, however.
Far from. Watson with the throw. Gordon guided it in the path of Kimali Scott, but fell on the wing, said no. Still alive for Cavalier. Loose ball, booted away. Akil Henry, Trinidad and Tobago player, only 19 years old. Producer shouting that it's actually 20, but what's in a year, Lejay? Here's Malachi Sterling. Has space. Gets it in the central area, but Mary couldn't get onto it. Ball sent for Kishane Gordon to chase. Devoni Burton.
Possibly taking an unnecessary risk there. Montego Bay have had their defensive issues this season. Of course, they were by quite some distance the most prolific team in the league, scoring 14 more goals during the regular season than any other team. 79 goals their tally from their 39 games, but with 45 goals conceded and only 12 clean sheets, they have had their issues. So I think they suspect they come into this playoff knowing that They might need to outscore some teams.
Ball forward. Merrick. Lewis. Has been a good midfield pairing so far. They've combined well. Good control from Malachi Sterling. No wonder you give him such high regard, LeJay Williams. Here's St. Flor. Trying to turn. He does so. Gets it in the area. Too fast for any Montego Bay United player to really get meaningful contact to it. It was Ramsey who was at the end of that St. Flor delivery. Here's another look at it.
Then Tamar Lewis backing in to his defender. Alexi Perry calling that foul.
Can't say I was surprised when Alexi Perry got that FIFA designation. I've been seeing him in more formative years and has always demonstrated that kind of aura and control of the game. So happy for him. Of course, a big designation that I'm sure all referees aspire to.
Loose pass on that occasion from Malachi Sterling.
I was going to say it's a searching ball, but I was also going to add that I'm not sure who it was searching for.
Important for Montego Bay United not to get a little bit too impatient when they're building up. Try and move the ball a little bit quicker laterally. Get that Cavalier block moving. Try and open up the spaces. I think with those long passes, you might be playing into their hands a bit.
Yeah. Here's St. Flor. Always amazed that so many of the Haitian players have such great technical ability. So comfortable on the ball, their first touch, at least the ones I've seen, have always been rather impressive. Throwing for Cavalier. Minute number 27 of this encounter. Dwayne Allen being bodied there, trying to get a call from the referee, nothing going for him. Here they come, Montego Bay United. Devereaux make that Akima Jones with a shot, charge down. Correa gets it to Malachi Sterling. Cultured left foot. His delivery charged down as well. St. Flor settles for the throw-in. Leaves it for Sterling. Still alive. Here's a shot. Again, that's charged down. Appeals for handball from the Montego Bay United attackers.
Perry vehemently waving that one away. Montego Bay sending a couple of substitutes to warm up. Wayne Gordon, one of those.
Here's Correa, darting forward, gets it out wide. Sterling, can he find the delivery? Had to be headed away. I think that was Giovanni Leng at the right place. Corner taken shortly. McKenzie goes for the shot.
Will be another corner kick. There's an appeal for a penalty that we saw not too long ago. Waved away by Alexi Perry. Akima Jones it will be to whip this one in swinger from the left-hand side.
Always dangerous from the set piece, Akima Jones. That from his days as a star with Clarendon College in the Rural Era da Costa Cup. Akima Jones swings it in, headed away. Devereaux McKenzie on the ball now. Timar Lewis. McKenzie. Merrick. Cheeky ball forward.
Not quite on the same wavelength as his teammates there. Dwight Merrick has grown exponentially so far this season.
I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked when I saw what he was doing early season. Of course, he did have a good time as a schoolboy, but since moving from schoolboy football to the Premier League, the exponential increase in his quality certainly surprising myself and many others as well.
Yeah, especially what he was doing beforehand in the Jamaica Premier League. Had stints at Mount Pleasant and at Dumbo Holding. But I think the new lease of life that he's been given at Montego Bay United, especially in these midfield areas, and especially at the start of the season, was something to behold, and it led him to accomplish some great things personally, including being involved in a couple of Reggae Boys squads. And I'm sure he'll be looking to have a big impact on Montego Bay United, possibly achieving a lot of success this season. Of course, starting in this game, semi-final, first leg against Cavalier.
Akima Jones on the ball for Montego Bay United. Gets it to Lucas Lima Correa. Devereaux McKenzie. Here's Philando Wing. Trying to dart forward. Gets around two defenders. Lays it off. Good shot. Spilled. Follow up. It's in the back of the net. But he was offside. Cavalier saved by the waving flag.
And that's just the talent that Philando Wing has. We were just mentioning what Dwight Merrick has turned into since changing position. Philando Wing has been a revelation as well at centre back, and this time it was him driving forward, committing a couple of Cavalier players and opening some space. The eventual shot from Lima, but the flag quite rightly raised in the end. But I think Montego Bay United now have the blueprint of possibly how to dismantle and create some space amongst this Cavalier defense. Not quite sure if he was in an offside position there actually. It does seem that there was a defender keeping him on side.
Here's Montego Bay United. Devereaux McKenzie. They've been so dominant in terms of possession. Oh. Ball forward. Davoni Burton committed himself well.
Yeah, extremely assertive goalkeeping there from Burton.
Here's Timar Lewis for Mobay. Akima Jones has space to drive forward. Kimani Arboin on the wide area. Ball sent to center floor. Lovely first touch. Michael Forbes gives him company. Still alive for Montego Bay United. Comfortable, competent on the ball. Malachi Sterling Not finding a route, not finding a pass. Can't get around the defenders as Philander Wing did earlier.
And many people do think that the best way to unlock a block, especially when they're sitting deeper in a much more zonal description, is to try and pass through it. But especially Cavalier, who are so disciplined, sometimes getting a defender to just move out of their zone, move out of their assignment for just a moment through carrying the ball into certain areas. That's how you can open up the space, and that's exactly what Philander Wing did.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that Malachi Sterling does so well for this Montego Bay United team also. So maybe Montego Bay have unlocked a little bit of a new meta on how to disrupt this Cavalier team.
No, we're not talking about the software company. Most effective technique available. That's what meta in this context means for those who don't mind learning. Ball forward. Devoney Burton. Comfortable again. Here's Tamar Lewis. Malachi Sterling on the ball. Good pass to Merrick. Lays it on for Correa. Further wide. Kima Jones and Kimani Arboin couldn't combine well there.
Yeah, not on the same page on that occasion. But that's where Montego Bay United have done most of their work so far in this game. Around 25 yards out from goal, right on the top of that 18-yard area. Trying to probe, trying to find a little cute pass. Something to dismantle and unlock this Cavalier defense, who are so far, by hook or by crook, staying sturdy.
Can something break the hook from Montego Bay United? Sterling. Kimani Arboin has drifted left. St. Fleur taking proceedings on the right hand side as we see that ball coming all the way to the goalkeeper. Tamar Gordon down, and Alexi Perry has is duty bound to halt the game.
Yeah, not for the first time in this contest. The Cavalier custodian did have a little bit of a shaky first half in his JPL playoff debut against Waterhouse, but since then he's been extremely solid, keeping a clean sheet in that second leg against Waterhouse. Always a difficult thing to do. And then also so far in this game as well, hasn't quite been tested, I would say, in this first leg against Montego Bay United, but has been assured, and sometimes that's just enough.
Yeah. Of course, both teams actively going through what needs to be done as we have a look at some of the spectators here in the grandstand, National Stadium. Big matchup comes up following this one. Portmore United and Mount Pleasant FA. But still in the first half of this encounter. JPL semi-final action. Hasn't been a boring watch, and that's always a good advert for the JPL, for local football. Still waiting for that moment that all commentators savor a goal or perhaps a fantastic save. But for the analyst in me, always important to see the tactics being employed and how it's neutralized as well. So let's see what happens. Still about 7 minutes left to play in this first half. Driving run from Philander Wing. Gets it to Tamar Lewis. He's still going forward his wing. Lewis goes for goal. Leaning back.
Yeah, always going to be difficult. Once more, it was Philander Wing taking matters into his own hands. And Tamar Lewis did have a lot of space. I'm surprised he didn't possibly give that one back to Wing as he was driving forward. Montego Bay still periodically sending players out to warm up. Seeing Jamari Clark, their striker, former national under-20 striker for Jamaica, warming up. So too Brian Brown, a key member of their team now for a couple of seasons.
Kimali Scott trying to be a nuisance there. Devereaux McKenzie flashes off his falter into the ground.
Yeah, it was Philando Wing, I think, trying to buy a foul on that occasion. There was a hand on the back, but referee Alexi Perry certainly didn't see it as a foul. So let off the hook on that occasion was Wing. And now it's
another
McKenzie.
driving run. McKenzie doing the business this time. Correa doesn't have the run, but he boots it forward. Another corner kick for Montego Bay United.
Yeah, this time from that far side. Looks as if it will be Timar Lewis to swing in. Left-footed in swinger. Can I set piece unlock this game?
Timar Lewis behind it. Gets it in the area. Headed away. Send floor tries to send it back in the area. Again cleared. Looks to be Adrian Reed on that occasion. But still Montego Bay United on the ball. Here's St. Floor. Sterling. Timar Lewis. Calls Merrick to the ball. Merrick's first touch brings him away from the action. Has to go back to McKenzie. Scott hassled there and gets the call.
I'm sure from a Montego Bay United perspective, they would say that was very similar to the foul that just wasn't called against them.
Kishane Gordon has the ball for Cavalier. Gets it to Adrian Reed Jr. Back to Gordon. Adrian Reed wanted it a bit earlier than was supplied. Shamar Watson kept it in play. Timar Lewis will be summoned to referee Perry. There's a quick talk into the number 12 for Montego United. Reed with the delivery. Poor. Here he is again. Pokes it forward for Dwayne Allen, who scored in the quarter-final round. Handle ball there against Kimali Scott. Free kick for Mobay. Wing. Good interception from Giovanni Leng. Still has possession. Kishane Gordon. Leng now gets it in the middle. Shamar Watson spreads it wide. Dwayne Allen. Lewis Watson. First bit of real possession from a Cavalier perspective in the Montego Bay half. That's after 43 minutes played. Here's an opportunity. Still driving forward. Shot blocked. And Malachi Sterling has it now for Montego Bay United. Philando Wing. Forward to Merrick. Good touch. Ball forward to Ramsey. Under pressure. Fouled.
Finally getting one to go his way, Richardo Ramsey. Less than a minute to go in this first half. As you said, we haven't quite gotten that moment that commentators dream about the night before a game. We haven't gotten that goal, that breathtaking save. But I'm an analyst, Dean. I know you have your analytical cap on always as well. It has been an intriguing watch from that facet.
Here's Mackenzie. Here they come, Montego Bay United. Timar Lewis gets it out to St. Flor. Combines well with Ramsey. Cavalier defenders doing the business as always. Scott. Outbodied, outmuscled, outmaneuvered by Mackenzie. And Montego Bay United again in possession of the ball. 2 minutes to be added to the first half, says fourth official at Hamilton, another FIFA referee.
Devonnie Burton, the goalkeeper, now needing some assistance. Of course, a reminder that it is a double header in the semi-finals here today. Portmore United taking on Mount Pleasant at 7:30 Jamaica time, 8:30 ECT. I certainly do think that if any of these coaches are going to be happier with a 0-0 scoreline going into the halftime break, it would be Cavalier, not only because of their consistently pragmatic approach, especially during playoff time, but also the fact that they are without their talismanic player, Christopher Ainsworth, who does so much for them defensively, offensively when they need a moment of magic as well, which we saw, of course, in that second leg.
Oh, yes, we did.
And they have been laboring, I would say, in an offensive sense. I think if they were able to get out of this tie after 90 minutes at 0-0, they would be relatively pleased.
I do agree, you know. Here's Forbes. Cavalier players slip in there. Here's an opportunity. Kimani Arboyne. Crucial intervention. Oh my. Captain fantastic there. Doing what needed to have been done.
Yeah, I think it was actually Richardo Ramsey racing through. Mobay taking this corner kick short as they do from time to time. Cavalier not making use of that transitional moment. And now here come Montego Bay once more.
St. Flor. Lewis. Correa. Ramsey. Went down, but the referee said nothing there. Here's Kishane Gordon trying to go the other direction now. Sends it to Kimberly Scott. His first touch wasn't bad, wasn't great. Under pressure there was Phil Underwing. He managed to get it away. And the referee has seen enough in the first half. It's still 0-0 between Cavalier FC and Montego Bay United FC in the Jamaica Premier League semi-final first leg. Montego Bay United dominating possession, but Cavalier defending stoutly as they have always been able to do. Lots of action to unpack in the highlights. Let's go through them. Montego Bay United started this 5 o'clock kickoff with actions like this. Flick on header. He couldn't flick it on really. Dwight Lincoln Merrick. Another delightful ball forward. And Richardo Ramsey poked it through the leg of the goalkeeper but couldn't get it on target. St. Flor wide of the mark again. All attack from a Montego Bay United standpoint. Was Richard Ramsey there being bundled over as Louis Watson tried to attack that corner kick. Timar Lewis is backing into the player. They had to defend stoutly. And that appeal called away. Here was Philander Wing driving forward. Laid it for Korea. Was spilled. But Philander Wing was adjudged to be offside when that ball was struck by Korea. He advanced again, did Wing. Laid it for Timar Lewis. His shot though off target. Solid defending from Giovanni Leng to block the advance of Richard Ramsey, and that's the action from the first half. Still, Cavalier and Montego Bay United 0-0. We take a quick break here from the National Stadium. When we return, second half action here from the JPL semi-final first leg.
You used to always remind me of those good old Jamaican proverbs to keep me wise. Proverbs like, what goat do, kid follow. Good friend, better than pocket money. And if you can't catch Quaco, you catch him short. Just like the proverb, Bosco Oats is ingrained in Jamaica.
No antibiotic and hormone free. Have you tasted the new air chilled chicken? Or my chicken nut? CB chicken. It is way better.
I save from VM Building Society. Every deposit got me here. Every step forward put me in the driver's seat.
For everything you're looking forward to, open an iSave account today. Visit gotomyvm.com to get started.
Every $25,000 you save with iSave earns an entry to win cash or a new home of your own. The more you save, the more entries you get, and every entry has a chance to win a brand new home of your own. VM iSave is the key to winning.
Here's to the early risers, and we are here all-nighters, the go, the extra milers, and let's do it until it works, workers. People who are powerful because they
Stadium. Let's have a quick look at the numbers behind the first half. Cavalier with 37% of the possession, Montego Bay United 63. They had 6 shots, only 1 on target. 4 corners, 3 to Montego Bay United. They had 1 offside. Philander Wing, the guilty party there. And of course, he had converted that shot. No yellow cards, no red cards, and still 0-0. This is the numbers behind the first half semi-final action. Rain Effort Jamaica Premier League. Back to some ads as we take care of business.
From me yai there me knee, Mummy used to always remind me of those good old Jamaican proverbs to keep me wise. Proverbs like, what goat do, kid follow. Good friend, better than pocket money. And if you can't catch Quaco, you catch him short. Just like the proverb, Bosco Oats is ingrained in Jamaica. From me yai there me knee, Mummy used to always remind me of those good old Jamaican proverbs to keep me wise. Proverbs like, what goat do, kid follow. Good friend, better than pocket money. And if you can't catch Quaco, you catch him short. Just like the proverb, Bosco Oats is ingrained in Jamaica. From me yai there me knee, Mummy used to always remind me of those good old Jamaican proverbs to keep me wise. Proverbs like, what goat do, kid follow. Good friend, better than pocket money. And if you can't catch Quaco, you catch him short. Just like the proverb, Bosco Oats is ingrained in Jamaica. From me yai there me knee, mummy used to always remind me of those good old Jamaican proverbs to keep me wise. Proverbs like, what goat do, kid follow. Good friend, better than pocket money. And if you can't catch Quaco, you catch him short. Just like the proverbs Bosco Oats is ingrained in Jamaica.
Power through, day after day, challenge after challenge. You see, true power is not something you can buy or collect. It's something that starts on the inside, and you always know it when you see it. Sunshine Snacks Peanuts, proud supporters of the powerful.
Ray and Never, feel we culture. Yo! New beginning, we winning, so share our spirit where you living, yeah. Share it. I make we all a one par, you don't know we come from far. From far, anytime we rep, feel we country. Rear rum, it have to come with me. No matter with the bad vibes. Poor rear rum, a celebration time. I feel we culture. Make we show ya Jamaican culture. Ray and Never, overproof from we just a do it to we culture.
A CB chicken, a better way. Introducing air chill chicken. It have more flavor, you don't know what you're missing. It tastes better, full of flavor in the kitchen. Better value, better taste, better chicken. CB chicken, tastes way better. Air chilled chicken, taste way better. Better value, better taste, better chicken. No antibiotic and hormone free. Have you tasted the new air chilled chicken? Or my chicken nut? CB chicken, it tastes way better.
I save from VM Building Society. Every deposit got me here. Every step forward put me in the driver's seat.
For everything you're looking forward to, open an iSave account today. Visit gotomyvm.com to get started.
Every $25,000 you save with iSave earns an entry to win cash or a new home of your own. The more you save, the more entries you get, and every entry has a chance to win a brand new home of your own. VM iSave is the key to winning.
Here's to the early risers, and we are here all-nighters, the go the extra milers, and let's do it until it works, workers. People who are powerful, because they power through, day after day, challenge after challenge. You see, true power is not something you can buy or collect. It's something that starts on the inside, and you always know it when you see it. Sunshine Snacks Peanuts, proud supporters of the powerful.
Ray and Never, feel we culture. Yo! New beginning, we winning, so share our spirit where you living, yeah. Share it. I make we all a one par, you don't know we come from far. From far, anytime we rep, feel we country. Rear rum, it have to come with me. No matter with the bad vibes. Poor rear rum, a celebration time. I feel we culture. Make we show ya Jamaican culture. Ray and Never, overproof from we just a do it to we culture.
From me eye there me knee, mummy used to always remind me of those good old Jamaican proverbs to keep me wise. Proverbs like, what goat do, kid follow. Good friend, better than pocket money. And if you can't catch Quaco, you catch him short. Just like the proverb Bosco Oats is ingrained in Jamaica. From me eye there me knee, mummy used to always remind me of those good old Jamaican proverbs to keep me wise. Proverbs like, what goat do, kid follow. Good friend, better than pocket money. And if you can't catch Quaco, you catch him short. Just like the proverb Bosco Oats is ingrained in Jamaica.
A CB chicken, a better way. Introducing air chill chicken. It have more flavor, you don't know what you're missing. It tastes better, full of flavor in the kitchen. Better value, better taste, better chicken. CB chicken, tastes way better. Air chilled chicken, taste way better. Better value, better taste, better chicken. No antibiotic and hormone free. Have you tasted the new air chilled chicken? Or my chicken nut? CB chicken, it tastes way better.
Montego United in red with green trimmings. They'll be kicking to the right. 0-0 after the first 45 minutes. Ready again for second of action. So 2 changes made. Chad James and Shatsan Milan coming on in place of Dwayne Allen and Kishane Gordon respectively. Here's an opportunity for Montego Bay. Kimani Arboin didn't have the finishing touch needed. So Chad James definitely brings a lot of pace and movement. Milan certainly able to be a disruptive force in the middle of the park as well. Let's see how they navigate the second half. Montego Bay United yet to go in their pack of cards for any change. And Jay, I can truly say from your coach's hat, what did you tell the teams in the halftime break?
Yeah, that's why I was a little bit late in returning. I was rushing out of the dressing rooms. Cavalier would have kept me in the dressing room a little bit longer than I expected. And I did expect some changes because I'm not sure if you would have seen, Dean, as soon as that halftime whistle blew, 3 or 4 Cavalier players fell to their knees, fell on their backs as if they had just played 120 minutes of football. And year after year, season on season, we always wonder if fatigue is going to set in for this Cavalier team. It usually sets in, but they still find a way. You have to wonder if it's going to be a case where they don't find a way this season. They've made a couple of changes. Chad James coming on, Shadsan Milan as well. You have to wonder how those changes will impact proceedings. And as you just rightfully questioned, when will Mobay react and make some changes of their own?
Devonnie Burton picking up this one.
Did mention in the pre-show as well that there is a little bit of history between Xavier Gilbert and Rudolph Speed. Arnett Garnes, the past 2 seasons, while under the tutelage of Xavier Gilbert, have fallen to Cavalier in the semi-final stage. And I did mention, if I was a betting man, I would place some money on this game being a draw. Reason being, the first legs in both of those semi-final clashes ended in a draw. And I'm never one to ignore trends.
The law of averages?
Yeah.
You've always used that?
Always works out. But nonetheless, it will be Montego Bay United probing right away. But that's a poor pass from wing.
Here's
uncharacteristically.
Donaldson trying to send this one forward.
He recovered well.
Had to. Here's Devereaux McKenzie for Montego Bay United. Cavalier happy to give them lots of space in their own half. You saw the possession stats and heavily skewed in Montego Bay United's favor. But they won't mind if they give away balls in those areas, Cavalier. Pressure here mounting. Here the clash of legs on that occasion. They take it quickly. Merrick spreads it for Kimani Arboin. Gets by 2. Can he find a killer pass? Gets the shot. And forcing Jamari Gordon to dive to his left.
Yeah, good save that one, because it did skip up off the turf, as you'll see here, as it was about to get to Jamari Gordon. Mobay actually taking that corner kick quickly. They did do that a couple of times in the first half as well.
Unsettling the reorganization of the Cavalier team. Getting about their business quickly, Montego Bay United. Here's Merrick. Lovely ball forward. Timar Lewis. Won the call there. Lewis Watson being guilty of that infraction. It's a free kick in a dangerous area, just about 19 yards away from the goal. 20 if I'm to be really metric or precise, I should say.
Yeah, and I think more intriguingly, it's right about the exact blade of grass that we saw Christopher Ainsworth score from in the quarter-final second leg against Waterhouse. But this time it's Montego Bay United kicking to that end. And they have some menacing players standing up and forming a queue over this one. I see Okemo Jones, Timar Lewis also having some interest. But also Malachi Sterling would have found his shooting boots towards the end of the regular season. All of them.
There's a buzz inside the stadium, you know. The Vuvuzelas. And a few beatings of the desk atop the grandstand. Okemo Jones or Malachi Sterling versus Cavalier and Jamari Gordon. Sterling steps up straight over the top.
Yeah, he can do much better than that, Malachi Sterling. You know he has the quality, especially from dead balls. Did mention his goal scoring exploits as the season carried on. 5 goals to his name from left back, as well as 8 assists, as Cavalier prepare yet another change. And it is going to be Michael Forbes making his way off. Romarian Thomas making the entrance. So an attacking change.
Yeah. I reckon that they do get a bit of steal from Romarian Thomas in the middle of the park. Here's Arboin for Mobay. Akil Henry forced to defend quickly. Arboin gets it to Correa. Here's the shot straight to the keeper. Okemo Jones can't pop from distance. Jamari Gordon equal to the task.
What's a killer now? Yes,
throw in for Cavalier.
A couple of Mobay subs warming up much more vigorously now. Brian Brown.
I was going to say how much warm is warm enough. They have been warming for the better part of half an hour.
DeAndre Brown amongst those substitutes as well. Also Nashardo Gibbs.
Here's an opportunity. Cavalier trying to twist and turn. Chad James! Wow!
It does look as if it was a fantastic save from Davoni Burton. Kimarley Scott once more making a nuisance of himself. And in quick time, Cavalier, a flurry of an exchange of passes. And that shot might have still been evading the goal. But Burton making a save nonetheless.
Had to
it's
make
a
that
corner
save.
kick for Cavalier.
The game can change in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. Here's the corner kick at the back post from Aaron Thomas. Got ahead to it. But Montego Bay United press forward. Here's Saint Fleur. Giovanni Leng has him under his sights. Saint Fleur dances into traffic. Headed away by Adrian Reed. Merrick there. Didn't have his coordinates right, to the chagrin of a few Montego Bay United supporters in my peripheral view. They do carry them wherever they go. Mount Pleasant, they've also developed that culture, bringing supporters. We see quite a few of them over in the bleachers area, Lejay. Here's Cavalier though. Scott has drifted further wide with Chad James's entrance in the park. Can't get around the Montego Bay United defense.
Mobay somehow escaped that predicament.
And they're trying to cause some predicament for Cavalier. Here's Saint Fleur. Gets in the area, gets a shot off. Always going wide and high. I reckon I would have loved if he had just taken that first time.
It was rolling to him in an inviting manner, especially on that left foot of his. It was always going to be difficult to work an angle for a shot. But I think those Cavalier changes have opened up the game a bit and allowed Mobay to attack in a little bit more space. Chad James up front now, Kimarley Scott operating off the right, Romarion Thomas off the left, who now wins a foul. And with Shad San Milan right amongst it as well in that attacking midfield area. Much more space, I would say, for Montego Bay to operate in. It's just whether or not they will take advantage of said space.
Here's Akil Henry. Does have a gait similar to a former number 5 for Cavalier, as I just saw him in action, Akil Henry. We speak of Richard King, no less. Milan trying to hustle there, but gives the ball to Montego Bay United. Here's Devereaux McKenzie. Philander wing. Timar Lewis. Lucas Correa. Here's Arboin. Inviting run from Arboin. Still has possession. Has to lay it off to McKenzie. McKenzie goes to the wide area. Has Correa. His ball forward, intercepted. Kimarley Scott doing defending there. Almost gave it away, did Cavalier.
Cavalier taking their time over these set pieces.
As Jamar Gordon shanks that one. And Montego Bay have a throw in which they take quickly.
Can they keep it in? They do win a throw in once more. Three substitutes still getting warmed by the on the track rather. From a Montego Bay United perspective, the throw in comes in the area, headed away by Reed. Timar Lewis picks it up for Mobay, gets it out wide to Sterling. His delivery across. Yeah, acrobatic attempt from Dwight Merrick, not connecting at all. Wasted opportunity that for Mobay.
And it will be a goal kick for Cavalier. Once more, Jamar Gordon taking his time, approaching the 60th minute in this game.
Milan with a good touch to Scott. Couldn't get it to James. Play resumes. Merrick couldn't find the pass. Chad James. His turn let him down on that occasion. Merrick. Game has come to a lull. Even the normal noise. Here is Merrick. Straight to the keeper! He had to make a spectacular save!
Dwight Merrick, it was finally arriving in some space. And from around 30 yards out, that one was surely going to nestle into the top corner. Jamar Gordon in top form once more.
Timar Lewis with the corner kick. Life just injected. Header on! Kimani Arboine just flashing it wide, and number 29, Richard Ramsey at the back post, couldn't get a foot to it either. Close shaves as Montego Bay United now go to their deck of cards.
Yeah, Brian Brown, the first entrant. Straight swap for Richard Ramsey. Brian Brown, one of the most lethal goal scorers the West has ever seen, former Golden Boot winner in this league as well, back in his time at Harbour View. Also going to see the entrance of Nashardo Gibbs down this right-hand side. He's coming on for Gregory St. Fleur.
Brian Brown trying to get in the action immediately. Does well to win the throw-in, or force a throw-in. Montego Bay United looking more and more threatening as the second half wears on. Jones. Gibbs. His introduction. Mackenzie. Out wide to Gibbs. Poor first touch. Throwing for Cavalier. first assistant referee having a problem with the yards that Lewis Watson trying to steal. Did get it deep into the Montego Bay half. Ball forward. Kimberly Scott chasing this one. Gets there. Gets around Sterling. Gets it in the area. Headed away by Mackenzie. Charge down on that occasion. Good play from Kimberly Scott. A workhorse for Cavalier Scott. Here they come again. Montego Bay United. Arboyne. Can he take the shot? Charged down by Akil Henry.
I was quite surprised when Montego Bay made that change in the wide areas and it wasn't Kimani Arboyne who was substituted. Hasn't quite had a game up to his usual standard, Kimani Arboyne. But he's growing in some stature in the second half at least.
Leng with the clearance. Livingston Donaldson doing well. All the way back to the Montego Bay United half. Gibbs. Correa. Brown. Under pressure did well. Timar Lewis. Bundled over by Schatz and Milan. Arboyne has Donaldson for company. Mackenzie on the second time of asking gets it to Correa. Disciplined defending from Cavalier. Good ball forward. Akima Jones did well to keep it in. Here's Gibbs now. A grounder, charge down, and Romarian Thomas try to play it forward. Solid play from Montego Bay United.
Excellent challenge that time from Nashardo Gibbs. It seemed as if Cavalier was about to move into acres of space beyond that Montego Bay United back line.
'66 minute. Correa gets it to Timar Lewis. Tries to chip it forward. Giovanni Leng is there. Arboyne! And a further defensive contribution from Giovanni Leng. Blocking that shot from troubling Jamari Gordon in goal. It's a corner kick. Malachi Sterling is there quickly, but he's then sent in the area by Akima Jones. And there's some anticipation following this one. Here they come now. Sterling, Jones. Didn't find an angle to shoot. Romarian Thomas happy to nod it away. Dwight Merrick on the ball now. Donaldson didn't have the best of headers, but did have some type of clearance. That was a horrible attempt off a cross from Malachi Sterling.
Not the quality required on that occasion as Jamari Gordon takes another seat. Once more needing some assistance, giving both teams, both managers, both set of coaching staffs an opportunity to reset. 23 minutes plus left to go in this game.
Chad James, the only player, called to Rudolph Speed to give him some cues as to what he wants. Let's see what's in the mind. Seems to be a change will be made as Twain Lynch, he gets himself ready. Of course, a former national under 20 goalkeeper, Twain Lynch. Not sure if the change will be made, but Jamari Gordon back to his feet. Donaldson on the ball for Cavalier. Lost possession to Arboin. Good defensive work. Gets by Henry. Can he turn him as well? Gets it back to Timar Lewis. What can they do from the wide area, Montego Bay United? Lima Correa had to send it further back. Ball forward. Giovanni Ling and Brian Brown having a few words for each other. Choice words, I'm sure.
Yeah. Two experienced campaigners was always going to be difficult for referee Alexi Perry to call, but from our vantage point at least, it did seem as if there was a tug there by Ling. We did mention that Brian Brown is an expert striker. That doesn't only come with a reputation of scoring goals, it's also an ability to use your body at the correct angles, your ability to know when and where to be as well. The finishing, I guess if you ask Brian Brown, is just a plus. As Nasharda Gibbs is hawked down by his former national teammate, Chad James.
Yellow card shown. Free kick for Montego Bay United in the 71st minute of the encounter. What's on the mind of Xavier Gilbert as this game state continues? Gordon sends it to Milan. Won back by Montego Bay United in the form of a throw-in, taken quickly. Devereaux McKenzie on the ball. Jones had to be intercepted, and it was done well by Shamar Watson.
Kima Jones plotting over this throw-in. Eventually plays it short to Timar Lewis and then forced to go back to Devereaux McKenzie. Eventually it falls now to Malachi Sterling.
He goes back to fill underway.
Cavalier doing a good job of almost making Mobay create almost like a U-shape, a horseshoe in their passing. And then whenever it goes in those central areas, look at their midfielders, Shamar Watson, Adrian Reed, just snapping it up and breaking up the play. I'm sure they would be disappointed at their lack of attacking thrust, but at the very least, doing a good job of denying Montego Bay United, the best attacking team in the regular season, from exploiting anything in that sense.
Alexi Perry showing a yellow card again, this time to a Montego Bay United player. By my vantage point, it seems to be Kimani Arboin. Yes, it was Kimani Arboin. Shown that yellow card. Play resumes. Cavalier in possession. Here's Akil Henry. Ball sent forward. That was a crucial intervention from Akimo Jones. Romarian Thomas was there. His throw-in causing some amount of discomfort. Devoney Burton had to respond immediately. Boots it long. Henry heads it away. Throw-in for Mobay. Lewis Watson snapping that one. Another substitute warming up for Montego Bay United in the form of Shamari Clark. Dons the number 9 shirt. Has been warming up for quite a while as well. Not sure if that's just to give an air of caution to some players who are slacking off for Xavier Gilbert's side. Just over a quarter of an hour left in this encounter. Here's Gibbs. Timar Lewis. Shamar Watson. Steely player. Winning back possession. Holding the ball well. Didn't have a lot of options there. Watson gets it back to Shamar Watson. Lewis Watson to Shamar Watson. One back by Cavalier. Milan. Here's Romarian Thomas. Poor pass. Apologies aplenty. Errant pass from Philander Way.
Devoney Burton needing some assistance as Jamari Clark continues an intense warm-up. Every semi-final game we were blessed to have some goals. If I'm not mistaken, at least 2 in every game. But so far at least, it's been the defenses on top in this game. Cavalier in their block, 4-4-2, 4-5-1 at times, denying Montego Bay any space between the lines. Mobay trying to find some sort of way to probe, to get anything going. But it's really just been half chances, snapshots. And Cavalier, I think 75, 76 minutes into the game now, they'd certainly live with that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. They seem satisfied, not much in the form of warm-up action from a Cavalier perspective. So this game states something that they are happy with. Chad James sends it to Kimali Scott. He couldn't take it down first time. Still alive for Cavalier. Kimali Scott trying to turn. Didn't get the better of Malachi Sterling on that occasion. Goal kick. Enough can't be said about the defensive solidity that we see from Cavalier. Getting the numbers behind, knowing their roles, playing the roles well. Look at Kimali Scott. Back defending as well. The youngster Livingston Donaldson going in hard on that challenge.
Yeah, I think he got a little bit impatient and dived in unnecessarily, I would say, to Kimani Arboin. DeAndre Brown and Jamari Clark now getting ready to make their appearances.
Minutes left in regular time. Here's a free kick taken short, sent in the area, headed away by Leng. Romarian Thomas wins it for Cavalier. Sends it out wide. Kimarley Scott kept it in, but not to his own benefit. Ball forward. Brian Brown giving chase. Giovanni Leng there, being shoved into the billboard by Brian Brown. It's been a war of attrition between them. And I tell you, the billboard has suffered some damage there, Leger.
Yeah, I think if either of them had flown into it, it would have been a heavy, heavy landing. And you must think that Brian Brown, the wily veteran, knew what he was doing on that occasion. And Giovanni Leng, the Cavalier captain and veteran himself, feeling the aftermath of that challenge.
Here's another look at it. Yeah, he did push him.
Yeah, dangerous one, that one.
Yeah.
From Brian Brown. But the changes are coming up now from Montego Bay United. Lucas Lima it is, and Kimani Arboin making their way off. I'm wondering now if it will be Dwight Merrick dropping back into that holding area. And Montego Bay United certainly going for it at this juncture with 10 minutes left.
I think in the mind of Xavier Gilbert, nil-all does not do justice to all that they have put forward, and they definitely want that advantage. Of course, Cavalier haven't done much offensively, so getting that goal, going for it, certainly a wise choice from the western side. Still alive for Cavalier. Here's Romarian Thomas. Has two for company. Gets the call. Good shimmy there. '81st minute. Under 10 minutes left in this one. Still 0-0 in the Jamaica Premier League semi-final. Leg 1. Cavalier and Montego Bay United. The subplot, Rule of Speed versus Xavier Gilbert. Here's Agent Reed versus Montego Bay United. Here's the delivery. Davoni Burton had to punch it away. Throwing for Mobay, taken quickly. Cavalier doing sterling defending. Ball sent to Chad James. Romarian Thomas now. Can he get around his man? Thomas goes back to Shamar Watson. Watson uses width. That's Donaldson on the ball. His ball forward is nice. Solid defending from a Montego Bay United perspective. Malachi Sterling getting in the action. Throw and taken. Corner kick for Cavalier. Haven't seen a lot of those from a Cavalier perspective.
But it is a major sticking point defensively for Montego Bay United. They have conceded a whole host of set pieces this season. 21 as a matter of fact from their 45. So what can Cavalier muster up here?
A solitary voice calling for a goal. Won't get it on that occasion. Montego Bay United now trying to go forward. Lovely ball. Gibbs turned into danger, and the opportunity has fizzled away like a well-shaken soda. They still have possession. Akima Jones lucky there. Here's DeAndre Brown. Cleared by Shatsan Milan. Throw in.
All hands to the pump there. Montego Bay United may be a little bit lucky for that attack to continue. But in the end, it will be a throw-in, which Akima Jones will take. As Mobay still plug away, trying to find the opening goal in this game.
Sent in the area, headed away by Leng. There was an infraction there.
Jamari Clark.
Player still down for Cavalier. He now rises. Murray Gordon. Another change being made by Cavalier. Kimani Scott exits. And James Gallimore, a former Central High and Kingston College player, now with Cavalier, enters.
Bundled down. Dwight Merrick.
Or was it DeAndre Brown?
It was DeAndre Brown, yes. Back up on his feet swiftly. As a quest for a goal in this match begins. Or should I say, continues.
Continues. Now, if this game state continues, Lejay, what do you reckon each team will need to do in the return leg to assure themselves a place in the final?
Oh, that's going to be a difficult one, and probably a question I'd have to answer after watching over this game. You might ask, watch over this game.
Dangerous moments for Cavalier. Jamari Gordon there doing just enough. The cross was a telling one. Donaldson goes back to the young keeper. Ball given away. Here's a shot. Took a deflection and just over. Wow.
Yeah, look at that moment there. Jamari Gordon not with the best of clearances. It fell to Gibbs, who immediately unleashed a shot. It was a good attempt. And out of nothing, Montego Bay back on the prowl.
They have a corner kick. Timar Lewis behind it. Here's a header at the back post. Malachi Sterling was going for that one. Didn't get any contact though.
Decent delivery, but couldn't be met by a red player. Gordon hoping for a better clearance here.
Lots of noise for that particular entrance from Montego Bay, from Mount Pleasant FA. Getting ready to warm up the team from Senan, formerly Stush in the Bush. Montego Bay United still hunting for this one. Giovanni Lang with a good header. DeAndre Brown now. Immediately draws the attention of Adrian Reed. Here's Devereaux McKenzie. Spread this one lovely. Well taken. Timar Lewis. What can he do? Here's the delivery at the back post. Gibbs off the upright. Oh my, on the crossbar. What a moment for Montego Bay United. What luck for Cavalier.
Yeah, and at some point it must have taken some sort of deflection. As a matter of fact, it was saved by Jamari Gordon.
What a playoff he's been having. Jamari Gordon, the 17-year-old, turns 18 later on this year.
Massive moments. He had the save from Dwight Merrick earlier in the game. But on this occasion, how sharp did he really have to be to keep that one out?
Wow.
A goal-saving save, and quite possibly as well
a season saving.
Yeah.
Wow. Here they come again. Cavalier. Looks to be James Gallimore. Doing well. Can't get it to a player in white. Clearance from Livingston Donaldson. We're in the 90th minute. Okemo Jones. Merrick. Gibbs. 5 minutes to be added to the second half. Here's a shot. Lang has been everywhere.
He really has. I think if we were going to hand out a player of the match at this current moment, Jamari Gordon as well as Lang have to be serious candidates. But based on the grief that I've been given over my past selections, I'll just give you those two options and you choose the most suitable one.
Montego Bay United in added time now to the second half. What can they do? Here's Okemo Jones. Does he have a pop from distance? Shat Sanwilan says no. Nashada Gibbs was thwarted from having a real drive towards goal. Takes the corner quickly. Flag is up from the assistant referee. A retake. What do we have on our hands? Malachi Sterling with the in-swinging corner. Headed away by Cavalier, booted out. Another corner kick.
And with tired legs, tired minds, these set pieces and defending them become even more strenuous on the brain.
Here's the delivery. In the area, it's an own goal! What a moment for Montego Bay United! The ignominy! Cavalier, they've done everything right! But in a moment of tired minds, unresponsive legs, he just played it into the goal. Here's the delivery.
Right on cue. This will give us a better idea who it came off of. My guess is Shamar Watson. Right there in the middle, it's actually Adrian Reed Jr. And after all that hard work, that strenuous work, as time ticked on, it was always going to be so difficult being pent in for the entirety of a game and not have a moment like that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was a moment like that, but it does look as if that moment will be deciding this game as Montego Bay United take the lead at a pivotal moment in the semi-final tie.
Not much time to respond from a Cavalier perspective, but here Montego Bay, they want to add some gloss to the lead. Here's Giovanni Lang. Driving forward. They're exposed at the back somewhat. Only nominally. Ball sent forward. Chad James. Good take. Trying to get around his man. He does so well. Didn't have the pass. Akil Henry with a solid header. Donaldson boots it forward now. Free kick for Montego Bay United. We're into the final minute of the 5 added on, Lejay. The West End cheer in full.
I guess we have to change our approximation for the player of the game. That's a contender on the ball as well. Philander Wing, I think he's been quite good.
That's the final whistle. What a moment for Montego Bay United. They worked from minute 1 to minute 90 plus 3. And it was in minute 90 plus 3 that all the reward they were looking for was accrued to them. Albeit in the form of an own goal by Adrian Reed Jr. But that matters little in the grand scheme of things. They take the all-important lead as they get ready for the return fixture this Wednesday inside the National Stadium. Jubilation for the team from out west after the massacre, the carnage of a hurricane named Melissa. There is still rejoicing from a Western perspective. Montego Bay United coming out 1-0 winners here in semi-final leg number 1. Big chance that from the Shadow Gibbs. Jamari Gordon. Oh my, what a day he had. Here's the full-time highlights. Montego Bay United. Sprightly start. Dwight Lincoln Merrick didn't have the header needed to bring that one on target. Lovely ball played forward. Ramsey there with a poke between the legs of Jamari Gordon into the side netting. Sent floor. Had that shot wide of the mark. The Haitian sparkled in the first half. Ramsey there in the thick of things on the defensive end as well. More action as that call went the way of Cavalier. Timar Lewis guilty. Appeal for a handball ignored from Alexi Perry. Look at this. Lima with the shot after the darting run from Philander Wing. He was offside by a fraction there. There he went forward again. Timar Lewis this time taking the shot. Always leaning back. Well high. Ramsey going forward. Giovanni Leng. What a game he had. Had it not been for the loss, perhaps he would have been the man of the match. This shot. A save. Free kick from glorious territory. Nothing doing there. Cavalier had a few moments. This ball came to Chad James, forcing a save from Devoney Burton. More action from Montego Bay United. They had hands to the pump. Sent floor. That one going high. More action. Montego Bay United. Dwight Merrick with that shot. Jamari Gordon had to be alert. Corner kick for Montego Bay in the second half. That one header going wide of the mark. So much action. Lewis Watson there showing a yellow card for that foul. Another yellow card being shown to Brian Brown for that shove on the back of Giovanni Leng. Not a horrible game, not a aggressive game, but they had a few moments. Dangerous moment from that clearance. Nashada Gibbs with the shot took a deflection away from danger. Malachi Sterling box crashing run there, couldn't get the header on. Timar Lewis, what a strike that was from Nashada Gibbs. The brilliance of Jamari Gordon, but the ignominy of Adrian Reed Jr. conceding that own goal. Tired minds, tired legs. Frustration in the end for Rudolph Speed's men. Montego Bay United with the win. A very important win. They had the majority of the possession, 68%. All of 18 shots with 6 on target, 11 corners to Cavaliers of 4. Interestingly, Cavalier having no shot on target. It was really a defensive game for them. One offside for Montego Bay United. 2 yellow cards apiece. And the all-important 1 goal advantage going into Wednesday's second and final leg. Tonight's Jamaica Premier League playoff presentation is proudly brought to you by our valued partners who continue to power the growth of Jamaican football. Special thanks to Ray Nephew, the official title partner of the Jamaica Premier League. Visit Jamaica, bringing the spirit of Jamaica to the world. We also acknowledge our league partners, the CB Foods, Admiral Sports, and the Sports Development Foundation, SDF. Club partners supporting our playoff teams include Chemtech, proud partners of Portmore United, Fosca Oats, proud partners of Cavalier FC, Sunshine Snacks, proud partners of Montego Bay United, and GIS Institute of Sports, proud partner of Mount Pleasant FA. We thank all our sponsors and partners for their continued investment in the development of local football and the future of the Jamaica Premier League. That's a wrap it up here.
Mummy used to always remind me of those good old Jamaican proverbs to keep me wise. Proverbs like, what goat do, kid follow. Good friend, better than pocket money. And if you can't catch Quaco, you catch him short. Just like the proverb Bosco Oats is ingrained in Jamaica.